5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Believe I am now live on YouTube. Hello, hello, hello. If this is working properly, I am Dan Salem, live streaming from my home to your living room on YouTube, BuzzChomp channel. We're here to talk the NFL and NFL free agency. Give me a moment because I'm going to also go live on Facebook. And in 3, 2, 1. Hello, Facebook and Facebook Live, Facebook mentions. I'm Dan Salem. I am live from my home in Los Angeles to you, talking the NFL and NFL free agency. Live on YouTube, live on Facebook mentions, at the Dan Salem on Facebook. About to tweet out at the Dan Salem. Got to share this link, got to do the sharing, got to do the sharing. I'm going to tweet it from a personal, and then I'm going to retweet it on BuzzChomp. BUZZZ, that's an extra Z on the Twitter for BuzzChomp. Just 2 Z's like the word buzz on YouTube and Facebook and the like. Today, NFL free agency. The tampering period has elapsed, I guess would be the correct word. Is that the way to say it? Teams can negotiate with other players without being penalized starting today, but they can't officially sign anybody until Thursday afternoon, when the new league year opens and free agency begins. But between today and Thursday, negotiations can happen, which means that a lot of players will be signed before free agency begins because they will have been able to negotiate without being penalized to do so. So you'll see a lot of deals waterfall immediately when free agency officially opens on Thursday. That being said, oh my goodness, there are so many free agents available. Oh my goodness, oh my goodness. My brother Todd and I wrote for NFL Spin Zone tomorrow, ranking the wide receivers. We picked out our top 3. The number of wide receivers that have now become available is insane. I'm going to just strictly check here to see if anybody unofficially signed. Oh, it looks like Johnson may be getting traded from the Rams. This is all basketball. We're not talking basketball right now. We're going to talk on basketball later, but this is football. Latest free agency signings, re-signings. Yeah, there hasn't actually really taken place yet, but let's see. Is anything really like buzzworthy? I don't think so. Not really. Defensive end Johnson returns to the Panthers with 2-year deal. So Carolina re-signed its defensive end Charles Johnson, $9.5 million. He's not a big name, but anytime you bring someone back to your defense who you obviously felt was good enough to hang on to, that is a win. And the Jaguars re-signed their reserve guard. That tells you all you need to know. I was going to touch on the now wide receivers, the suspect quarterback class, and then the fact that offensive linemen are at a premium. This is like the hot commodity offensive linemen. As you see, the Jaguars brought back their reserve offensive lineman, their reserve guard, Patrick Omameh. That's a cool name. Because, man, he would have got snatched up. There's just not a lot of linemen and a lot of needs. My team, the Jets, desperately need offensive linemen, and people will be paying handsomely for mediocre talent because it's just a weak position in the free agency class. Weak as in not a lot of them. Jermaine Gresham, tight end, signed with agreed to a contract with the Arizona Cardinals. Nobody's signed yet. Nobody's signed till Thursday. I didn't want to swear. Shit can go down because someone else could sneak in and make another bigger offer, but they have agreed to terms. So, barring someone one-upping the Cardinals, Jermaine Gresham will be going to Arizona, which is good news for Carson Palmer because everybody loves the tight end, especially older, successful quarterbacks. They just know how to use their tight ends. Money. That's money for them. Yesterday, the Patriots agreed to a 2-year deal with fullback James Devlin. I love fullbacks because I played the position, but it is like completely forgotten in today's NFL. This guy must be a good blocker. And then William Golston, not to be confused with the Jets bust Vernon Golston, returned to the Buccaneers. William Golston is also a defensive player, but obviously worth a $36.5 million salary, whereas Vernon Gholston, the Jets, was a bust of years past. Just seeing the name made me think, did this guy that we thought was a bust actually turn into something good? No, it's a different player, and that makes a lot more sense. But they have made an agreement. Again, nothing is official till Thursday. And finally, over the weekend, Curley agrees to deal with the 49ers. Jeremy Curley, the wide receiver, has agreed to terms with the 49ers. $10.5 million over 3 years. Yeah, he comes cheap. Oh man, okay, so let's start with the fun stuff. There are so many wide receivers available. Oh my goodness. Oh, this was not the link I was hoping for. Let me go find that for you guys because I don't know. Can I tweet it? Well, oh, you know what? I think I can tweet it from my Twitter because that's what Twitter's for in the middle of this. And then after the broadcast, I will share my spin zone. But this is the group of available players in the free agent class. This is the wide receivers, but you can obviously filter by player, and I will be doing that as we chat, so we can do this. But let me tweet out the available wide receivers because this list is just unbelievable. Like all available. I should watch me type. Wide receivers in NFL free agency. Amazing. I'm using all caps if you can't tell. Hashtag NFL free agency. Tweet. Okay. So if you're interested, at the Dan Salem on Twitter. At the Dan Salem on Twitter. I just tweeted the link via Spot Track. I can't take credit. Spot Track has it all. All right. So you can filter this by salary if you want. It's pretty impressive. But Alshon Jeffrey, Vincent Jackson, Brandon Marshall, Victor Cruz, Pierre Garçon, Torrey Smith, Deshaun Jackson, Kenny Britt, Stevie Johnson, Devin Hester. There are a lot of names we know. I threw in Devin Hester because we know his name, even though I'm not sure anybody cares about him anymore. There are a lot of wide receivers that are due big. They got paid big money last year. They're going to be due big salaries. There's also, like, my brother Todd Salem is big on Kamar Aiken, who was playing in Baltimore, Landon LaFell, Michael Floyd, Ted Ginn Jr., Kendall Wright. Oh my gosh, Brian Quick, Percy Harvin is still in the market. Terrell Pryor is going to get a big payday because he did great things in Cleveland. Cecil Shorts. If you play fantasy football, you know these guys because you need them, and they've delivered for you last year or the year before. They are all on the free agent market. So I semi-made this point publicly, and I'm going to make it officially public now. If you are a playoff team from 2016 in the NFL, you need to sign one of these wide receivers. Injuries happen, right? And you need depth. You have a playoff Pro Bowl caliber quarterback. You need him to get more options in the passing game. You need more targets. Go pick up one of these guys. It doesn't have to be one of the names. The Patriots are going to grab one of these players. It's probably not going to be. I mean, it could be Brandon Marshall because they love to steal from the Jets, and Brandon Marshall is amazing. And Tom Brady, the 1 or 2 years when he had a true name at receiver, Randy Moss, whoa. So if his last 2 years in the league he gets it again, unfair advantage, guys, unfair advantage. But they might get Brandon Marshall. He desperately wants to win a title. Otherwise, they're going to pick somebody up like, I mean, Terrell Pryor is a great get. But there are the lesser name guys here that are truly awesome options. They can come cheap too. Like Kenny Stills might come cheap out of Miami. Brandon LaFell is not expensive, and he was so. I'm looking at. They better get him. Like Packers got to get a receiver because they got hurt so bad last year when they lost their one to injury. The Cowboys should get another receiver. Who else? Freaking everybody. The Seahawks, the Broncos. I mean, if you have one big name, you better get a complimentary third and fourth here, and they are available in free agency. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, there's a group of teams that really need a quarterback because they don't have one that they trust yet. Correct? So, where does that leave people? Correct? Colin Kaepernick's available. There's a great meme going around that was Colin Kaepernick with his fro standing in the empty house from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air because in the last episode they had moved and so the entire mansion was empty. And it was Colin Kaepernick's suitors as he enters free agency and him just staring at an empty home. It was amazing, a great meme. I don't actually think that's the case. It's just funny. Kaepernick made good press last year with his nonviolent protest, but he hasn't done great things on the football field. So he's going to come at a low salary, but he's young, and I don't think that he's been in the right situation since he was successful. Like, he was successful in a good situation for him as a quarterback. Then the team fell into misery and disrepair, and they fired their coaches and their GMs and blah, 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 and they're bad. They can't protect anybody. They have bad offensive line, and he's not played well. He got benched in and out, in and out. He could really succeed again. Like, he's a great backup quarterback, in my opinion, and I really do believe, because, I mean, he got 19 mil last year, something ridiculous. I mean, he's going to come cheap for like a couple million because he needs to prove himself. I wouldn't be upset if my Jets picked up Colin Kaepernick for a 2-year deal, because he's a perfect bridge quarterback who could expand into something more. I mean, he's only 29. Quarterbacks play a lot longer. Ryan Fitzpatrick is going to be available. He'll come reasonably cheap. I don't know. Fitzpatrick had the nickname Pixpatrick for many years. He earned it last season. He was forcing things. He really tried to turn a losing team into a winner, and that doesn't work. But the season before, he threw very few and did great. So the law of averages would say that this year, in a new environment, wanting to prove himself again after the stinker of last season, he will once again not throw many picks. So get him on a 1-year deal, and you're probably going to get decent Fitzpatrick. I don't know exactly where he fits. I mean, if Denver doesn't trust its two guys, I guess you go there potentially. But obviously, Romo's a better option if available. See, these are free agents. Romo's not a free agent. He has to be released or traded. But Fitzpatrick, like, when he's good, he's good. When he tries too hard, he stinks. He's a pain in the ass to root for. But so I'm glad he's off my team. But he was a good, and then he was bad, so he's probably going to be good this season. If he's bad again, he'll be out of the league. But I think he's going to be good this year. I think he's got another 2 or 3 seasons left like Tom Brady. Josh McCown, Case Keenum, Sean Hill. Ooh, all these big names. Matt Schaub, McGloin, E.J. Manuel, Blaine Gabbert, Mark Sanchez, Geno Smith, Kellen Clemens. If you want to see what happened to the Jets quarterbacks from the last 10 years, go look at the list of free agents, because every single one of them is on here. Geno Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Mark Sanchez, Kellen Clemens. Am I missing any? I don't think so. I don't think that anybody... So there's 2 quarterbacks on the Jets roster, Bryce Petty and Christian Hackenberg. Petty's played 1-2 games maybe. Everybody else that played for the Jets since Brett Favre was a Jet is now a free agent. That stinks. That really stinks, because that wasn't that long ago. That stinks. Another former USC Trojan, Matt Barkley's a free agent. He might go back to Chicago though. He's cheap. They should re-sign him for his backup potential. Questions from my live studio audiences. Anybody with the questions? Okay. How about some running backs, right? I'm not going to really talk offensive line, because nobody in the offensive line outside of Nick Mangold, that center, who was my Jets, because that's why I know him, and he was a Pro Bowler for years. He'll do well, but I'm like, people need the offensive line, right? But nobody really knows the offensive linemen unless they're your offensive linemen. So, this is weird. Anyways, I'll go unrestricted free agent. I don't know what to say. That people are going to really be clamoring after these offensive linemen. It's not a deep line. There's not a lot of linemen in the draft for offense. There's not a lot of linemen in free agency for offense. So a team like my Jets, who desperately need to up their offensive line game because they had a bad one, better go hard after these players. I wrote that today. I wrote a funny article on BuzzChomp.com. New York Jets, breaking news. There isn't any. Which is a good thing, man. The teams that are silent are the winners, and the teams that make a lot of noise consistently find ways to lose. The Cowboys make a lot of noise, and they haven't won much in a long time. The Jets make a lot of noise, and they have not won much in a long time. I want them to go after the linemen. I don't want them to spend much money otherwise. I want them to be quiet. I want them to officially commit to this rebuild. You can't half-ass rebuild. If you rebuild, you rebuild. If you half-ass rebuild, you fail. There's no really way to half-ass rebuild. 2 years ago, we successfully half-assed rebuilded, and last year we really badly did not successfully half-ass rebuild. So that means overall it was zero-ass. It was not a good thing to do. No good. So, commit fully. Don't spend a lot as the Jets. They're not allowed to spend their money on. Okay, so running backs, this is a tough position. You don't know who's going to remain healthy, who can actually turn it on, and who can't. But C.J. Spiller's there, Adrian Peterson, Jamal Charles, James Starks, Danny Woodhead. A lot of names. Rashard Jennings, D'Angelo Williams, Darren McFadden, Chris Johnson, Reggie Bush, LeGarrette Blount, Justin Forsett. I'm skipping a little, just Letty Lacy, looking for the names you might know. Matt Asiata, Tim Hightower. Wow. I have no idea who on this list will be really good next year. I have a couple guesses. I think Jamal Charles will have one great season left. I think Adrian Peterson will have one great season left because they've had great seasons many times before. So I think they'll be able to each have one more great season. And I do think that it will be this year because they'll be on new teams. They'll want to prove themselves. And they're coming off injuries, so they're going to be healthy and healed. I don't know what Spiller is going to be able to offer. I don't know about James Stark, Woodhead, D'Angelo Williams, Darren McFadden, Chris Johnson, Reggie Bush. These guys could surprise us. I don't think they're every down backs. I think they're going to be split in time. They're a nice piece, but they're not going to solve the puzzle. So where does that put them? The Patriots may add one of them, but they already have some guys on their roster that are good enough at wide receiver. That's why they let Blount go into free agency. They don't need him. The Packers need somebody at wide receiver. Not wide receiver. I'm talking running backs. The Packers need somebody. I think the Packers will sign a running back. I don't know who. It might be one of these lesser-named guys that they think can just up-tempo it into their organization, which would be smart. That'd be a smart play. Okay. What else is heading into this direction? Any questions, comments? You got worries? My reason I wrote what I wrote today on my Jets is because fans just need to take a chill pill, right? You had the Super Bowl just about a month ago, and majority of our teams haven't played since New Year's Day. I believe New Year's Day was the last day of the regular season. So most of us have not seen our team play, have not had a meaningful thing to think about our team for 2 full months. And in football terms, that's a really long time. Because from the start of free agency on Thursday until the NFL draft in April, we got a lot to think about. Then, all of April, it's draft talk. We got a lot to think about how these guys are going to fit in. Then you got another lull, May, June. But July, camp revs up and you got a lot to think about. August, preseason, and then you got the season. So there's only 2 real lulls. The Super Bowl and the playoffs happen to be during the first lull. But for most of the teams that don't make the playoffs, that's a painful lull. Because you got a month of watching football with your team not playing, then you got a month of no football. So right now you're antsy. I get it. We as fans were antsy, which is why I'm still talking the NFL because I'm antsy and I'm itching for new news. But the winning teams rarely make headlines. The winning teams don't break news, which is why I wrote, nah, just kidding, nothing has happened, New York Jets breaking news, and it's a breath of fresh air. Fans should not be worried, okay? We don't want our teams to be making meaningless headlines. We don't want to be attention grabbing. It's good for business, it's bad for football. But what's good for business is winning football. So you can run your football team as a business that makes a lot of headlines and can churn up profits that way, or you can play the long game and turn bigger profits by having a winning football team. The Patriots don't make many headlines. Tom Brady, for all of his celebrity, manages to make as few of headlines as possible. The Patriots are a rich organization because they've won a ton of freaking championships. So success brings the money. You don't need the headlines to build the business. You can build the business by being successful in business. Now, if you're an unsuccessful business, it's not a bad idea to make some headlines. But that's a bad idea for the Jets because they can be successful. Some teams just feel like lost causes. I'm sorry, Cleveland Browns not sorry. So maybe you should make some more headlines to turn up some revenue for your business. But we don't need it. We don't need it, okay? Stay quiet. Take a deep breath. It's okay. We're all good. Couple of news and notes. So this is a fan favorite for me, Jalen Marshall of the New York Jets, wide receiver. Most everybody else who doesn't watch the Jets will never have heard of him, will probably not give a crap, but he was suspended for 4 games for PEDs. Unfortunate. He looked good last season. That may be a reason why. And it looks like somebody on the Packers was suspended for PEDs also, defensive tackle Guillen. And a defensive lineman for the Colts was charged with 2 felonies. Like Darrelle Revis. Again, the Jets making headlines because Darrelle Revis was charged with felonies, which I don't know what's happening there either. I'm not a lawyer, but I wish I had lawyer updates for you. Okay. Questions before I wrap things up today. Oh man, next Tuesday we are going to have a ton of things to talk about because you know that first 30 minutes to an hour on Thursday is going to be wild and crazy, and by Friday night so much money is going to exchange hands. It's going to be insanity. And then you got the whole weekend to mull things over for Monday morning deals. This is great stuff. This is fun. The NFL season is starting up again officially on Thursday, March 9th. There's no actual football, but the season truly begins with free agency. I'm Dan Salem. I'm live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Pacific on BuzzChomp on YouTube. That's B-U-Z-Z, BuzzChomp on YouTube. And at The Dan Salem on Facebook Live. Find me on Twitter. Find me on Facebook. I'm going to share an NFL Spin Zone article ranking the top quarterbacks for fantasy football next season. Who's number one? Who's number one, you might ask? It may be obvious, or maybe not. You'll have to read and find out. I'm going to post that after I post this live stream. Thank you guys. You are an amazing audience, and I will be back next week, Tuesday, live for you, talking the NFL. I mean, I have so much NFL to say. What am I going to say about the Yankees? Baseball season hasn't started. What am I going to say about the Clippers? They're still stuck in the 4th or 5th spot in the West. Not much has changed. If it does, I'll probably throw in some tidbits. All right, I'm out, and good night.